This is amazing. This is exactly what the players wanted. Diablo 4 just released a roadmap, and there's only two kinds of companies in this world who release roadmaps. One, companies that are good, companies that want to hype their player base for the exciting things to happen. And two, companies that are, well, literal shitholes, desperate for any kind of attention because they are fading into irrelevance. And, well, needless to say, Blizzard and Diablo 4 are definitely the latter, not even close to the former. They are desperate, everyone knows it, and I am excited because, boys, you know me. Whenever I can take a hot, steamy pile on Blizzard or anything related to them, I get excited, boys. I don't know what's gonna be here, but I mean, I see the word pet here, and no one cares about pets. Literally not a single person in this game cares about pets. So I already know this is gonna be a disaster. Just from that little smidget. It's gonna be great. This is gonna be so horrible. So horrible.
Hey folks, this is Riker, and we just got the reveal of the 2025 roadmap for Diablo 4. Here's the roadmap right here, but I also got an exclusive interview with Brent Gibson, game director on Diablo 4, to ask him about basically what is just a whole bunch of teasers for what we can expect for Diablo 4 coming in 2025 and beyond. On the roadmap, we see what to expect in Season 8, Belial's Return, as well as Season 9, Sins of the Haradrim, and Season 10, Infernal Chaos, as well as what's going to be permanent additions to the game.
Season 10, Infernal Chaos. Bro, can you just try and be more edgy? Can we even be more edgy at this point? Infernal Chaos. They should have made it Infernal Chaos of Darkness. Oh yeah, that would be good.
Separated out at the bottom here. So take a moment to take in what you're seeing right now on the screen. We're going to move now into the interview with Brent Gibson, where we're going to talk point by point on what a lot of these things could mean. So our first ever Diablo 4 roadmap.
Oh, they no longer want to even show Rod Ferguson because he's such a loser. I get it.
And the first thing that strikes me, we are seeing content.
Wait, wasn't Rod Ferguson the game director? Is this guy new?
All throughout the rest of the year, but it's not just season 8, 9, 10. We're actually getting season names here with a few bullet points of what to expect. I didn't realize you guys had season themes planned out so far in advance. We're season 7 now. Did you?
Maybe they should stick to, I don't know, one season, not 10 seasons in the future. Maybe that one season would actually be better in that case. I don't know.
You guys, is this the norm, or for purposes of building a roadmap, did you guys have to commit to stuff further in advance, stuff that normally would be more in flux?
Well, I think for the first time we're in a position where we can do this. You know, when the game released, the base game released, we were getting an influx of all of this feedback, right? And so we were trying to figure out the right order and operation to continue to iterate on the game and address that feedback. So we were very reactionary.
Bro, no one from the developers listened to feedback when Diablo 4 came out. They categorically refused. This is rewriting history. This is legitimately directly rewriting history, at least in a poor and feeble attempt. When Diablo 4 came out, every single player in a week's time had the exact same complaints about the game. Do you know how many of these complaints got addressed? None of them. Virtually none of them. Maybe like one or two accidentally. But no, the developers stubbornly refused to listen to what people said, what was the problem, what they didn't like. And they changed other things. And about the time that the developers actually started listening to people was like, I don't know, season 3 or 4, when 99% of the player base left, and the only people who were around were people who have literal inbuilt slop factories in their throats for instant slop consumption. People whose opinions should be ignored because they're deranged lunatics.
in that state. But the closer we got to expansion 1 with Vessel of Hatred, things started to become clearer and clearer on what we should be going after. And so we're finally in a state where we have a very strong idea of what we want to do with the game, which allows us to kind of project out and create some fun themes and brainstorm a little more freely. And we're finding ourselves in more of a proactive state than a reactive state. So largely that's where that comes from. And then secondarily, like we want to hold ourselves to pushing this game and continuing to add really great stuff to it. We want to be able to.
What great stuff. I'm sorry, before the Season of the Witch, the great stuff that you add was an escort quest, because that's how smart you are. You think that the thing that people in MMORPGs and all games unanimously have called shit, aka escort quests. You thought that that's a good additive. Damn.
Polish it, and in order to polish it, we need to know
Polish that third, baby. Make it shine.
what parts of the game need that attention, so that we are in a great position leading into 2026 with the expansion, which we want to make sure we're in a great spot to build upon everything that we have.
Yeah.
You touched upon being proactive versus reactive. You've historically been very reactive.
Riker doesn't even know what to ask at this point. He knows that this is a great opportunity, but he can't miss it. I mean, Riker has looked so dead inside since the collapse of Diablo 4, boys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm honestly a little bit sad for him, because, I mean, he actually likes D4. No, not D4, but Diablo in general, right? He likes it a lot, but, I mean, it's just shit.
Moving forward, do you think with a firm roadmap, will it be harder to be reactive, or are you affording yourself some room in there for that reactivity in case something were to come up?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, as you get further into the year, we know that we're going to discover something. And so we want this really to be a living document where today we're talking about this stuff. We have a lot of commitment to going after these things. But if we get a few months down the road and there's something that really needs to be looked at, we're going to do what's right for the game. And so we're giving ourselves that flexibility while trying to really drive,
because historically they have known so well what's good for the game
towards a target. And so, you know, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, we may be talking about some differences on the roadmap, and then we'll have something to talk about at that point, and it's going to be largely driven by the fans that are playing the game. So feeling pretty good that we have a plan that we can get out there with and have conversations with folks like yourself.
Wonderful. All right, well, looking at the specifics on the roadmap, we see in a couple places a new IP collab. For those who don't know, an IP is an intellectual property, so like Diablo is an intellectual property. Other games.
Hell yeah, I can't wait for my Diablo 4 to look like fucking Fortnite. Yay! Or I don't know. The Rainbow Ponies? What's the name? What's the name of the Rainbow Ponies? You have Dash, you know. A lot of weirdos masturbate to that stuff. What exactly is that? What's it called? I forgot. Anyway, the bronies. There we go. I can't wait for a brony collab, because you know it's happening.
Other, you know, it could be a movie, whatever, other universes or other IPs. Evidently, you can't speak to what those IPs may be, but for a Diablo 4 player, what does a new IP collab mean? Is it new shop skins? Is it new events? What kind of scope can we expect?
It's skins, Riker. You know it's skins. What the fuck else is it gonna be? Of course it's skins.
Yeah, the spirit behind a collaboration is
money.
to find dark fantasies that fit really well with our dark fantasy, right?
Well, to be fair, yeah, the pony stuff is a hellish thing, so it does fit in even.
And so, you know, first off, the goal is to make sure that we're true to the brand and we're not doing anything that is actually jeopardizing that cool dark
Yeah, boys, you heard it here first. Being true to the brand means diluting it by adding another brand into it and then explaining how that makes sense.
Identity that we have.
Bro, this should be a
The
5-part
other
video at this
portion
point.
of this is that we are role playing in this game these crazy power fantasies.
Amazing.
And we're inspired by things all of the time. You know, we read many books, we watch many shows, we play many games, and every once in a while you come across something you're like, yeah, that fits. That fits. And so the goal is to come out with a whole suite of cosmetics that allow you to role play inside of that fantasy, inside of the Diablo universe. And so you'll see, we got the new Reliquary system coming up. We'll probably talk about that a little bit. And that gives us a great platform and opportunity to offer some of those collabs.
Is Reliquaries just a Herodic cube? I'm forgetting now what I even predict, but I have been right on the money for Diablo 4 predictions. Because they're just copying everything Diablo 3 did. And the worst part is they're not even doing it right. You look at Runescape Old School is actually not making a lot of new content. They are taking the most successful and loved parts of Runescape 3 and just implementing them in 2. Well, Diablo 4 is just completely copying everything from Diablo 3. Bad, good, no one cares, whatever. They're just copying everything. And they're spreading it out in parts. Like, the Goblin updates that you're seeing in Diablo 4, if you do not know, that's literally Diablo 3's Goblin updates. But it's not even in the singular chunk, it's cut into parts. You're being drip-fed slop, very literally. And so, is the Reliquary going to be the Herodic Cube? Because I predicted the Herodic Cube, and I predicted one other thing. That's going to be the next 2 updates in Diablo 4. I can't I previously forgot the Herodic Cube, but now I remember the Herodic Cube and I forgot the other thing. Well, not that it matters, it's gonna be who cares at the end of the day, because the Herodic Cube is gonna be used like this. Oh, now I have 4 more slots to add X% power increase. Wow, so cool, said no one.
And that gives us a great platform and opportunity to offer some of those collabs.
So no Hello Kitty Island Adventure, but
no.
the World of Warcraft skins, would that be an example of an IP collab? The ones that we already got?
Yeah, that's like an
IP collabs are just bad.
Internal one, right? Like it made a lot of sense, and it's inside Blizzard, which we know we have fans that play both games very deeply, but we want to branch out a little more than that. So
money.
I'm not going to spoil what the collab is.
Money.
But we definitely don't want to go down the route of
it's money.
Rainbow armor and French fry swords. We got to be. We don't let. I say it often, like, don't betray the brand. But there is a lot of opportunity out there that is super cool.
You hit upon Reliquaries. I think we're going to learn more about those soon. Anything you can tease about them in the interim?
Yeah, looking at the way that we were approaching battle passes was kind of like the old way of doing things. It didn't give the player a lot of control or agency over what they wanted to go after, and so we are going after something a little more modern that
the battle passes that look like slop are bad. Wow.
Breaks things up in a way where players can be more specific about the
Bro, is this really 20 minutes of interview? My god.
Things that they are chasing from a cosmetic standpoint. So whether it be...
Okay, we're gonna be skipping because no one gives a shit about cosmetics.
Your season journey update. Anything you can tease there?
Yeah, of course. When we look at the season's journey, it was so directly tied to the battle pass. And with us moving to Reliquaries,
it's almost like they made the game around the battle pass, not the battle pass around the game. Wow.
Allows us to open up growth for the season journey itself. And so moving forward, we can do some great, interesting things.
By the way, in general, I think Diablo 4 is going to be fucked because the reality is season what is the season? Which is that season 7, 8, or 9? Whatever. The next season with the boss powers is probably going to be unironically the best season we have ever had in the game, because the boss powers are actually interesting. Now, admittedly, the whole game is going to revolve around the concept of, okay, here's a boss power, and now I have to only build around it, which technically will, well, there's not a lot of variety in Diablo 4, which is a huge problem, but it's gonna shrink that variety even more now, which is funny, honestly, to me on some level. But at least it's gonna be completely something new. So the fact that if you're now playing a Necromancer and you have literally 2 builds only open for you, well, that's technically less than we have currently, like 5 builds, maybe 3, who knows? No, didn't 3 didn't count. Even though it's going to be less builds, they're going to feel completely new and completely unique. And that's going to be good. That's going to make it fun. So, even though it's technically a downgrade, it's going to feel good at least for one expansion. And you see, the problem is, when you have your best expansion ever, really hard to follow that up. Like, I think this is gonna be accidentally the best the best season Diablo has had ever, and anything that follows after this is gonna feel just a billion times worse. So, yeah, good luck, Blizzard, because no one expects even you to make another decent season, let alone follow a good mechanic in a season. Because this is effectively the first mechanic that matters. Every other mechanic in Diablo 4 has been some borrow-powered gobbledygook bullshit. This is different.
Things like nesting objectives inside of chapters now. So you can have a major objective that has smaller objectives that build up to it, nested in. And we can start rewarding you inside of the season's journey itself with rewards along the way. And so there's
also, I mean, he's talking about the season's journey like it's something that people even gave a shit about. No one does. Well, no one cares about the season's journey. Literally, 0.001% probably actually actively think about the season's journey because it gives you nothing.
There's more granularity to getting rewarded, so you don't have to finish an entire chapter to start seeing some of the benefits from that. So it kind of breaks the handcuffs off and allows us to do a lot more, and that's something that we'll continue to invest in as we go along the way.
On the topic of the season journey, we've seen in the past people feeling the need to complete content in Torment 4 in order to complete the season journey. Now,
yes,
you guys have recently said that the objective is for 10% of players to be hitting Torment 4. Does that mean we're going to see a shift in what kind of goals there are in the season journey?
But that's so strange that they're saying, like, I'm not gonna lie, okay? How fucking stupid do you need to be to just not casually play the game and hit Torment 4? It's not hard in the slightest. I have never looked up a guide. I have never given a shit. But I have every time that I have played the season more than 2 hours, which is not often. Well, the first time they said, "Oh, hitting Torment 4 is going to be hard," I hit Torment 4 and it was easy. What is this bullshit about the top 10% of players hitting Torment 4? It's not hard. It's not hard at all. It's slightly grindy, sure, but it's not hard in the slightest. I mean, if I can just cobble up whatever the fuck random gear I have and have just mediocre synergies and it works out, then someone who just copies an actual top tier build with the best synergies and percent damages increases, they're going to be able to blast the tier Torment 4 without any problems. I don't understand this mentality, Torment 4 hot. It's not. It's just not.
Yeah, one of the overarching things for 2025 is to, bring challenge back into the game. Now, I want to be really specific. It is not to turn the game up to 10 for everybody. This is a game
That is so sad, because when he says challenge, he is not talking about making fights impactful, making situations hard, making decisions meaningful, making bosses have mechanics. No, no, no. This motherfucker is literally talking about, we're gonna give monsters more HP damage and defenses. That's what he means. This is the fundamental problem with Blizzard, why they will never achieve anything. Why they will never be good, while they never will be fun, why they are absolute failures. Because when anyone says hard, they just mean, oh, more HP. That's so stupid.
that is about the way I play. I like to log in. I like to just relax. It's my end of the day stress reliever. And so we're not going to do anything that jeopardizes that. But
if my end of the day stress reliever was playing Diablo 4, I mean, I would probably become a wife beater or something. I'm not gonna lie. If my life was that shitty, it is what it is, boys. I'm gonna be completely a stack here, okay? It wouldn't be pretty.
But there are players that really like to be tested, and so getting to a spot with some of our activities and some of our guided systems like this to create those spikes in the appropriate places is something that we want to continue to look at season upon season. So it's like what you see with what some of the power adjustments that we're putting into season 8. We take a look at what the boss layers look like. Is there something we can do there? We know we got a lot of high-end players in that activity. What does that mean? But we also don't want to lose the accessibility. And so it's a dance as we go along. I heard
it's a contradiction, not a dance.
Your stream where you're talking about some people like cake, some people like pie, and that is the dance we're doing. I like cake, by the way. My brother likes pie. But we're not gonna sacrifice one for the other, and we're gonna continue to play that dance.
Also, you know what I find fascinating about how poor and mismanaged everything Blizzard is? They have had actual great ideas. For example, without a doubt, one of the things that Diablo 4 actually has done good and correct is kind of pushing group play in a not really intrusive way, but in a way that people are like, sure, yeah, I'll find a group for this. Go to a Discord, go to whatever the fuck, and just now they have like party tools. I have never used them though. But that's one of the things that they did kind of well. And then they're like, let's be idiots about this and make the Dark Citadel or whatever the hell that shit is called, and make it forcefully group activities. I have never even been in the Dark Citadel. I will never even try. Because they did a good job encouraging people to go groups. And then they're just like, let's force people into groups. It's so stupid. It's so absolutely moronic. That's how they do it. And they do something almost good, and then they completely mess it up.
And getting to the game where it needs to be for everybody.
It's a tough dance. It's a tough balance to strike, for sure. So looking forward at season 9 here, Sins of the Haradrim. I know.
Okay. Let's actually Heraldic powers. Oh wait, is that the Heraldic cube? Oh no, yeah, that's probably the Heraldic cube. Okay, so this is gonna be the Heraldic cube season. Okay, got it. So Reliquaries is something different. Probably just another system we have already seen, but with a different name, because that's what Blizzard does. Okay. Quests and reputation boards. Wow, they just literally have quests and reputation boards everywhere. Why? No one likes quests and reputation boards. It's dull. No one wants it. No one likes it. Stop. Dungeon escalation? No one likes dungeons. The problem with dungeons is that they're still completely horribly managed. Because the people who designed those dungeons are... We watched the video. Literal lesbians who cared more about telling you how lesbian they are. And I'm not even making this up. This was what happened. When they let the dungeon designers and the artists talk about the game. They got given fresh level 50s. They played on the first difficulty. They were afraid to use anything but basic attacks because they never played the game. And they were supposed to talk about how they designed dungeons. The dungeons that they never played and don't understand problems of because they never played them. And then you're surprised why no one likes dungeon layouts. And no one wants to go into dungeons because they're fucking sad and bad. Yeah, that's life. And instead of talking about that, they literally told how great it is to be a lesbian. I wish I was making this up. Okay, but after that, earnable pet. No one cares. Earnable pet. Wow. Earnable feline pet. What? Whatever. So no one cares about pets. Chaos powers. Woo-hoo-hoo. Man, I wonder if that's gonna be the same as witch powers. Probably yes. Quest Rep Infernal Hordes update. Wow, because yes, no one wants to use the Infernal Horde because it's stupid. New expansion, new ranking system, leaderboards. I can't. This is all just so sad and bad. Anyway, that was Riker 10 out of 10. Bye.